Yeah, I forgot the screen's not wide enough on that feature thing. Good afternoon and good evening to those of you on the East Coast. Welcome to 2020 in review here on the Jeff Meacham Network, here on the NoDQ.com channel, here on the Greg Sherry brand, here on the Cleaver Colin Andrews channel, here on Noah Foster's channel. And if you're watching on demand, I appreciate that as well. I prefer the live thing. Don't get me wrong, as we all do here on the streams. But you watch it however you can, folks. We appreciate it. We always do here in the affiliates. Excuse me 1 second, because clearly the dog doesn't listen when I tell her the first time. So bear with me. Crazy dog. Anyway, Brendan, happy New Year to you as well, sir. Good to see you along for the ride. And JJ, again, thank you for being back with me in many capacities here on the network this year, and more to come, as you saw in the trailer. What you didn't see in the trailer from my fearless former roommate down in the Long Beach area, who's now not in Long Beach, he's elsewhere, but the Monday after our Tom Hanks show, which again, as you saw, was January 8th, coming up next week, next Friday. On the 11th, the Renegade Reviews actually premieres on JJ's channel. That'll be Monday the 11th, and that'll be the first day he has a stream go up or a video go up with a review. And immediately after Talk Wrestling that day, maybe before, I don't know what we decided. JJ, help me out there in the chat room. Whatever time we decided, I'll have to square that away by the 11th. But whatever time, that's what you're going to see. Oh, yes. JJ's review of the classic Tom Hanks flick, Splash. That'll be his very first review of 21, excuse me. God, I'm so tired. 2021 on January 11th. Hi. Of course, Tom Hanks, Daryl Hannah, and everybody involved there. You can catch that replay immediately on the same day as Talk Wrestling, which will be Monday the 11th, after it premieres on his channel on January 11th. So keep that in mind. And also later that day, let me go ahead and get rid of the thing. I just realized the stupid network thing is there. There it is. Hi. Very good. Later that week, on the 14th, is the 10th anniversary, which just blows my mind to say that, but it is, of the Dads on Wrestling, which now, of course, is the Dads Not Always on Wrestling. We will be having a live 10th anniversary celebration coming up that day. We're probably going to go after Rewind, which will likely be at around 6 o'clock or so Eastern. So we'll probably do Dads at 7. I know the review's usually at 7 for the NerdQ side of things, but we have to have it that day. It has to be that day because it's our anniversary. So that's when we're doing it. So if we compete with the NoDQ review, so be it. Whatever. It's 1 week. I ain't gonna sweat 1 week, right? So that's all that's coming up. Let's look back now that we have an idea of what is ahead for the Jeff Meacham Network and everybody involved. Let's take a look at the year that has been. And my goodness, has this been the most batshit crazy year in the history of professional wrestling, the history of the universe, as far as, well, the history of Earth. We don't know what happened in the other planets with the other intelligent life forms, but this definitely been the craziest year on this planet, I feel. Just in terms of everything has changed in the last year. My goodness, it's just bananas. The Cleavers here. Hello, Colin. Good to see you, sir. John Colombo. Hello, sir, to you. OG85. I don't know if you mean the first as far as to comment. You may have been the first coming on the stream you're watching. I don't know. I got 5 streams going, so I don't know. And Aaron, thank you for allowing me to host this on NoDQ as well as the other platforms. I appreciate that, everybody involved. So Aaron will be coming up today at 7 o'clock for Pacific with his year-end stream. And I will let Aaron talk about the NoDQ.com year-end awards because the results, a few of them surprised me. I'm not going to lie. But the majority of them pretty much hit right on point where I thought they would. So tune into Aaron's stream at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, and he will, I'm sure, go over that in detail as well as answer your questions because that's what Aaron do. So for the first 2.5 months or so of 2020, not so crazy. Not so bonkers as it got after the middle part of March kind of locked us all down. But we had the Royal Rumble, which was a tremendous event out in, I believe they were out in Arizona. Let me just double check that. Don't want to talk out to my ass because I'm guilty of that, Lord knows. Oh, you're in Houston. Oh, that's right. They were in Houston because I was talking about them going into the into the Astros territory, and giving them shit for being in the home of the cheaters. I forgot about that. Good thing I looked that up. Hello, Michael. Hello, D. Ross. Good to see you both here. So the Royal Rumble went off pretty much without a hitch. We had Drew McIntyre become the men's winner. No real surprise there. Charlotte wins the women's Royal Rumble, and she throws a wrinkle in the works by challenging the NXT champion, Rhea Ripley, for WrestleMania instead of the usual Raw SmackDown fare, if you will, from the challengers of the Royal Rumble winners. So that was a cool thing. The minute you saw Drew McIntyre eliminate Brock Lesnar, you knew, all right, here we go. It's on. These two are going to go at Mania. But of course, the big moment at the Royal Rumble by far was the return to the ring after 9 years of the one and only rated R superstar, Edge. And I still feel to this day that had he not gotten hurt so soon after his 2 matches with Randy Orton, that it would be the headline of the year that he had come back. It didn't win headline of the year. I don't know if it would have won anyway because of this damn pandemic. So I'm not gonna try to shortchange the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic that it had on the world and on wrestling in specific. So, but Edge coming back was a huge, unbelievable moment for all of us as fans. I still can't watch that without joyful, ugly tears because he had them on his face when he walked down the aisle. It was so beautiful. It was so great to see Edge back, and hopefully he will have rehabbed enough and he can have a strong 2021 now that he's been cleared and is in game shape, ready to go. JJ says, most definitely, buddy, 2020 is the craziest I've ever experienced. Oh, yeah, without question. JB3, it's going good, sir. I'll tell you this right now, JB3. Greg told everybody yesterday anyway. So we did record the triple threat in the Wrestling Trivia Challenge Contender Tournament today. And I don't like you, JB3. And I'll leave it at that. You guys can tune into that on Friday the 15th of January. That'll be on the No DQ side on my channel and on Aaron's channel. So stay tuned for that. But not a fan of this guy at all now. Just butthead. Anyway, but we love you and we appreciate your contributions to everything we do, JB3. So thank you so much, sir. Elijah, hello. Good afternoon. Good to see you, sir. Appreciate that. So also in January, other than the Royal Rumble, we had the Worlds Collide show, another NXT and NXT UK co-branded event. We had Imperium against the Undisputed Era, which was a unbelievable 8-man tag team match that could have gone either way. Just bonkers how intense that match was. D. Ross says Edge could be a surprise entry into this year's Rumble back-to-back. It wouldn't surprise me if they pulled it off. With the Royal Rumble not being in front of the audience, for sure, we're gonna have it in the Thunderdome. There's no way around that at this point. So it could be. It could be. The surprise factor won't be as big because there won't be a huge crowd to pop it on, but it'll be something. No, JB, that's the thing. You did try your best, and it was mind-numbing and nerve-wracking during the triple threat for the Trivia Contenders first round match. So, yeah, there you go. We also had the NWA do their Hard Times show, which I thought was just awesome. Starks and Murdoch in the finals of the TV title tournament. That was a great show. AEW had a few big shows. They had their Jericho's Rockin' Rager at Sea. They had Bash at the Beach, which the first time the Bash at the Beach name was used in almost 20 years. I thought that was really cool. Takeover Blackpool 2, Walter and Joe Coffey. God, these two beat the shit out of each other. And the big story then ended up becoming not the big story because of what happened with Tessa later, but Tessa Blanchard defeats Sami Callihan at Hard to Kill to become the Impact World Champion. And if you don't count the Lucha Underground Championship being held by a woman, which I generally don't because it wasn't a major promotion, in my opinion, just my show, my thoughts. Tessa became the first women's champion of a major brand. I know people, Impact's not major. Yeah, it is. Impact's a major brand. And Tessa was the world champion. So I'm not going to discount her that credit whatsoever, regardless of how things went down later. Elijah, yes, the Dusty Rhodes Classic is coming back. I'm going to get to that later on. We'll talk about the Dusty Rhodes Classic as we get to the end of the year. Joe Hill says, hey, how is everyone? Great to see you, Joe. Elijah says, Jeff, you wouldn't mind if Brian wins. He got history with Roman and they tell what happened in 2015 Rumble on why Roman won and Bryan didn't. I would like Bryan to win the Royal Rumble and go for the championship. I just don't know if it's plausible, only because there's a lot of different stories to tell with the guys that are involved, including The Rock, who has been mentioned many times as going into the ring against Roman at WrestleMania. We'll see the Rumble goes. We'll see things play out. I am not checking the door. Go lay down. Knock it off, please. Sorry, I mean to yell with her. Go lay down. Quit woofing. There ain't nothing there but shadows and wind. Crazy pooch. Sorry. NXT UK is amazing this year. Yeah, they were great. They really were. And I'm glad they came back. I really did. They've done very well since they returned to television and started doing shows full time again. It was awesome. Yes, the first and last time that will be used. This is very true. Psychojet Black, I'll get to your question momentarily. JB3 says WWE, AEW, TNA, which is Impact, and Ring of Honor should be considered for US promotions. I also throw in the NWA, and I know the NWA kind of fell on its ass this year because of the situation that they had in management. But again, that wasn't the NWA talent's fault necessarily, and it certainly wasn't Billy Corgan's fault. So I count NWA as a major promotion, and they will have a strong 2021, in my opinion. I hope. I really do. I love the NWA brand. All right. So that was January. We, of course, let us not forget New Japan. If we're going to talk about January, Wrestle Kingdom, the retirement of Jushin Thunder Liger. I mean, what a career Jushin had. I mean, goodness sakes. When I started watching wrestling, he was really just starting to come into his own as a major name in Japan. And I remember him competing against Brian Pillman for the light heavyweight championship WCW in 1992 at Super Brawl. Unbelievable contest. They were on the first Nitro together back in 95, and here he is. He retired this year. So you figure Liger retired this year at the beginning of the year. We had a retirement at the end of the year. We'll get to that later for sure. But great send off for Jushin, and let us not discount the accomplishment by Tetsuya Naito to become the IWGP Heavyweight Champion and retain the Intercontinental title in a title for title match, which was called the Double Gold Bash. They had an unbelievable match at Wrestle Kingdom, as did Okada and Ibushi, as did Naito night one. So just a great series of events from New Japan this year. I did get to see most of them thanks to the simple man himself, Noah. So thank you, Noah Foster, for that. I appreciate the help in that. So that was January. February was pretty low key. You had MLW run a show, New Japan, Ring of Honor. They all ran various shows. Then there was the cluster that was Super Showdown, which by and large was the worst show of the year, as the shows in Saudi Arabia always are. And it was the true beginning of what we thought was going to be the end for the Fiend with losing to Goldberg. Just a horrible idea. Just bad business. But also in February, you had Jon Moxley become the AEW World Champion at Revolution by defeating the one and only Chris Jericho. So Le Champion was no longer the champion. He remains Le Champion though, and 30 years in, you can't argue with Chris Jericho's success or the Undertaker's or Rob Van Dam. Let's forget he's been in 30 years, and my buddy who was on for us a few weeks ago, Buff Bagwell, also 30 years in. So those four guys, in some way, are celebrating the 30th anniversary along with yours truly. So I think that's super cool that in 2020, as much of a shit show as the year was, we all got to celebrate 30 years in one way or the other. I thought it was cool. JB3 says, how do I feel about New Japan combining the heavyweight and IC titles? To be honest with you, JB3, I'm not really super into the products. I mean, not that I don't like the product. I love the New Japan product. I just don't have the when they're on live, it's hard for me to watch because I know you're going, oh, I'm up anyway. I know I am. I have no focus at night other than work. If I'm here working or if I'm able to zone out, you can't zone out on New Japan Wrestling. They're that good. So trying to watch them and then trying on demand, I've got 20,000 things going on. I am making it a resolution here and now to do better about watching New Japan stuff because I know it's some of the best, if not the best wrestling on the planet. And I'm doing them a disservice by not watching regularly. So that's my bad. 100% completely my bad. So there you go. D-Ross says, is Liger bigger than Antonio Inoki for Japanese stars? That would be a question more for Noah or for Cindy than it would be for me. I personally think that Antonio Inoki is still one of the probably the biggest name out of Japan in my lifetime. And he wasn't really in his prime in my lifetime, but I know when people think of Japanese wrestling, they think of Antonio Inoki. So I think he's definitely up there. He's definitely made inroads a lot more than anybody else to try to unify the world. He had that show, the World Wrestling Peace Festival in 96 here in LA. He had the show, he promoted the show in Korea back in 95 with WCW, which was huge back then because North Korea, I mean, let's be real. They are a enemy territory for the United States and for most of the world. They're very much isolationist. They very much don't want people knowing what's going on over there. So the fact that I know he got a double card over there and got 340 something thousand people to come over 2 days is ridiculous. So is he a bigger name than Inoki Liger? I don't think so. But Liger is definitely one of the best wrestlers of the last 30 years in any company, be it Japan or wherever. He's great. There's a reason we're going to put him in the WWE Hall of Fame this year because he's that legendary. He has that big of a name. So he's definitely one of the biggest things. I don't know if he's bigger than Inoki, though. That makes sense. Let's see. And then we hit March, and here we go. So we had the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, which Shayna Baszler, my goodness, what a dominant performance in the chamber. She eliminated everybody. There were 6 women in there. She eliminated her 5 opponents. Bing, bang, bing, bang. Earned her shot at Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. Didn't win the title for whatever reason. But yeah, just crazy that Shayna had such a dominant match. And then you had WrestleMania. And unfortunately, WrestleMania was the first major show that got affected by this thing, and they ended up moving it to the PC. It's the first time in 36 WrestleManias that there was 0 crowd. There was not one person in an audience capacity at WrestleMania. It was such a wow moment, a huge thing, and it kind of set the tone for the whole year because WWE has been either in a closed door setting or in a very less minimal than AEW capacity all year. They had the Thunderdome created. They had the Capitol Wrestling Center redone. They had the PC turned into the Capitol Wrestling Center, so it's kind of like a Thunderdome, but they have people in there, which I think isn't necessarily a good idea. But it's definitely a unique situation. I won't even pretend about that. It's definitely like I just said, it's definitely the weirdest year of our lives, without question. It's so crazy how much has gone on in such a small microcosm of the world because we've got the bigger picture. People are dying out there and they're having to, their hospitals are overrun and it's just crazy. But in our own little world of wrestling, it's just completely batshit bonkers too. How many things are happening. Yeah, Brandon, I have not been to a wrestling show in person since SmackDown premiered on Fox, October of 19. So I haven't really been anywhere noteworthy other than I made a brief trip with my buddy Travis out to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery just because he wanted me to go. He felt I should go. Okay. And then I had lunch at the Bob's Big Boy up in Burbank. That's the most I've done this year. I did take my friend Jenna to downtown Disney. Well, she took me, she drove, but went downtown Disney it was really a decoy thing to get her away from the house so her family could prepare her birthday party. But, it's one of those things where I've literally been outside of the realm of my neighborhood twice. since I came back from my sister's house when the pandemic really hit in the middle part of March. Just crazy. And yes, the promoters did try to go to salvage. Uh, right? Yeah, exactly. COVID tried to did what promoters tried to do, sabotage WrestleMania. Yeah, it's honestly. I know you're kidding. I understand you're kidding. I mean, that's nothing to kid about. I understand, but it is kind of true. Like some promoters try to book around Mania and try to defer from the WWE's making money. But yeah, I mean, really, it's kind of what happened. Colin says, Cleveland, hey, you got your match coming up. You saw the bracket yesterday, so you know what to expect, sir. So I expect you to do your thing. So we'll see what happens coming up in a few weeks. I think I saved the bracket. Let me double check. Because I did want to talk about it because it was a huge thing for us personally on the channel side of things on being with everybody else. I did want to see if I did save it. Awesome. All right, well we'll check it out as we get toward the later part of the year. So then we move into that's not the right one. Poopy. Sorry. Okay, so I won't go over the bracket. Just kidding. I lied. I don't feel like thinking for it. It's too much of a pain in the ass. But yeah, WrestleMania was what it was. You had what turned out to be the Undertaker's final match, and that's extraordinary for me personally. 30 years of a career, and it's over. And he retired as arbitration. Saw that the final farewell, which I still have not stopped boohooing over. Hey, JJ, I'm a little missed at that one. Cleaver for how about the Meach? I got a match in the tournament. Jerk. See how it is. 2020, great year for it. Was a good year for us at NoDQ. We had it's so funny. I said all year, our job as far as internet streaming and where is the one job that really, I don't want to say benefited from the pandemic because nobody really benefit from this crap, but we definitely didn't suffer the way other workforces, other people at different other jobs and employers and whatnot uh, did. We've still been able to thrive. I've been on every weekday almost, some Sundays, some Saturdays. So I have, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow on the year the anniversary show, which we're going to get to. I promise. Um, we were able to do more this year because we had to do it. So I thought that was kind of the unique thing that we did suffer in our own ways, in our own lives, personally, no question, and professionally to a certain extent. But those who make their money, make their living on internet streaming, really had a unique approach to the year, and I think a lot of us benefit from that, including me, including Aaron. So there you go. Aaron, of course, had to cancel his wedding, which sucks. Beyond sucks. But hopefully next year. Michael says the worst decision for 2020 for me was Otis winning Money in the Bank. Yes, I would agree with that. Money in the Bank itself was kind of a train wreck, and we'll get to that. Now we'll talk about it now. Screw it. Yeah, people have talked to me for a long time that Money in the Bank's going to run its course. That it kind of is they just do it to do it now. It wasn't like it was 15 years ago where it was a huge thing and you never knew when he was going to strike, and it was a huge deal. But the problem with that, yeah, you guys, sorry, I'm trying to. So I teed down to it, and I want you to see that. Money in the Bank originally was, from what I remember, Chris Jericho saying in his book that Money in the Bank was designed for the guys that weren't getting the opportunity to have the opportunity in their pocket to be a main event player without really being expected to. And just a great example. He was right there on the cusp of that when he came back from the neck injury and he turned heel, and then he got with Lita after the Money in the Bank thing was won. And it just kept building and building and building. And then he cashed in, and it was a huge thing that he cashed in. He beat Cena. He cashed in when Cena was vulnerable. It was a great moment of opportunity for the ultimate opportunists. And then he dropped the belt back in 3 weeks. to Cena at the Rumble and just completely kill the momentum he had. Rob, wins the briefcase, calls his shot, wins the title, and then he gets the busted for the possession. 3 weeks later? Something like that? Ugh. And 7. Kennedy wins. All right, we're going to have Mr. Kennedy. He's going to hold on to it. He said it for a whole year. He gets hurt. He gets in trouble. They pass it on to Edge. Undertaker's hurt. They have to cash in right away. Edge cashes in. He reigns for a few weeks. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? The Money in the Bank had a curse on it from the start. I have always enjoyed the concept of Money in the Bank and the idea of the unknown. You're never going to know. But D. Ross has a good point. I can't wait to throw it up there because I 100% agree. To me, the biggest mistake was having established stars winning Money in the Bank. It should be a prop to elevate upper mid-carders to the main event. Boom. Ding, ding, ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. There it is right there. With all due respect to one of our longtime buddies, there is no reason that John Cena should have been Mr. Money in the Bank. Or the following year, Randy Orton, same thing. Now, I will say Randy Orton's plot device of having the briefcase, Triple H turning on Daniel Bryan, Orton becoming the champion, being the face of the company as determined by the Authority, that was good business for me personally. But John being the Money in the Bank holder, calling his shot, and losing the cash-in because of a disqualification, I thought was bullshit. And it shouldn't have been him in the first place. Again, my own opinion. Take it for what it's worth. But yeah, having established stars should not be the answer for Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank should be a guy that's right there on the cusp of greatness going, I'm going to cash in my shot right now. Boom, there it is. So, is it played out? Maybe. Otis winning it, bad for business. I look forward to see if The Miz actually does become the champion, because now they've given it back to him after they took it away from him. So I'm curious if they're going to have him actually be the champion. We shall see. Time will tell. Ratnick says, who was the worst call-up from NXT in 2020? I don't remember when they came up originally, so forgive me if I'm wrong here, but Heavy Machinery. I mean, Ty Marshall says it best. The worst heel turn of the year was Tucker. Yeah, they've both stunk big time. They had the thing with Mandy and Otis that could have gone somewhere, but they dissolved that immediately. So they're one of the worst call ups, in a long time, for sure. All right, I'll get your question now, then we'll go to something else I want to do real quick. What is the funniest moment in wrestling in 2020? Also, I miss Aleister Black being around. I miss Black, too. Aleister Black, is a great talent and definitely should be up there. Yes, Jay, exactly. Like when The Miz won it the first time. Yes. Miz winning the briefcase at Money in the Bank and the way he cashed in on Randy Orton and became champion was, as he would say himself, it was awesome. And I dare say that's been the best cash in recent memory. And the best reign to come out of the cash in recent memory, other than Dolph Ziggler. But Dolph's reign was short because of concussion. For some reason, it doesn't sit up there for me. But the moment of cash in for Dolph, holy crap, what a moment. Yikes. Crazy. All right. So, there was that. JB3 says, I always thought Tucker should have been turned when the hacker revealed him. That hacker thing could have been something if it actually stuck with it, but they didn't. It was terrible. They blew it. Hugely blew it. So, don't think it would have worked out. All right. So, we had WrestleMania in the Performance Center. We had Impact behind closed doors, which was their Rebellion event. It was supposed to be in New York, when it ended up going to Nashville. Ken Shamrock's back in the company, and he's a Hall of Famer for them now, so good for him. You've got Moose being the unrecognized TNA World Champion. They got to do something with that. I think that's such a cool gimmick, but they got to do something with it. It's very much like Taz awarding Brian Cage the unrecognized FW Championship after it's been on for 20 years. I like the idea of having a champion that dictates his own pace, but how far do you go with that? And then again, we met some Money in the Bank, and it was the whole show was a train wreck. You had the guys going off the roof, and it was just so silly. Asuka becomes women's champion um, by winning the contract in the briefcase at Money in the Bank, and then Becky, of course, was pregnant, so kind of had to kind of move it along there. Double or Nothing happens at in Jacksonville. Again, they were supposed to be at TIAA Bank Field Stadium, and of course, didn't happen. The TNT title debuts, I thought was pretty cool. From what we saw last night, they're going to give the old design to Brody Jr. Again, we'll talk about that in a minute. So I thought that's pretty cool. Just a lot of crazy events. We had In Your House return for NXT. That was a neat thing. Io Shirai becomes the story of the year as far as the women's division. She pins, I think she pinned Rhea, if I remember right, which is not good. Should have pinned Charlotte, but I guess they don't want to make Charlotte look weak, which I don't understand. So silly. Charlotte, of course, is back now. She's one half of women's tag team champions with Asuka, who is still the Raw Women's Champion. Sasha and Bailey kind of got snubbed on the year-end awards for Dirty Q. I'm going to say that up front. They had a great year as a tag team. They were both single champions. They were tag team champions together. They had a great feud toward the end of the year. Probably the best match of WWE wise 2020. They said Undertaker and AJ was a great cinematic match. Was it the best match of the year? I don't feel it was. I feel the best match of the year was Sasha and Bailey inside Hell in a Cell. It was that good. I thought those two did a tremendous job of bringing it all home. So it's such a wonderful match between the two. Keith Lee, of course, a big story in NXT, and he gets called up, and he's kind of just sitting there chilling now, right? Ember Moon returning. Thank you, Elijah. I didn't forget Ember. A lot of people came back, and that's good. I hope that the roster fattening up, if you will, kind of bolstering by all these people. Hopefully, it'll end up doing great things for all the companies, AEW, WWE, the NWA, when they make their huge final big comeback. Impact starting to really get some steam underneath them. Everybody's, and again, Karrion Kross is back now. He probably should have been NXT champion most of this year. It didn't work out that way. So a lot of good stuff. And yes, Io versus Candice was a good match. Rhea versus Raquel was awesome. Yes, I have long sung the praises of Candice LeRae, and I feel that she will do great things in the next year and a half, maybe even 2 years. Bailey heel turn was, I thought she was good. Yes, it was. It was a great story. Very unexpected that Bailey would be the heel, but she's been done tremendous stuff since she went to the dark side. Very proud of Bailey as a fan. I think it's so cool that she's done that. Tripton says, I think Fiend will return Rumble. I bet you Fiend shows up Monday. I bet you they have IRS out there, and out comes the Fiend to save IRS from Randy Orton. Just my opinion as it stands now. Cool Brothers Bucket says Edge returning and Roto Animal dying again. Yeah, the deaths are always the shockers. Karrion Kross's debut was awesome too. All right, so a few people mentioned it over the last few minutes about all who we have lost in 2020. So I will go ahead and do what I look forward to doing. I'm not going to lie. I hate this part of the job, but it is what it is, as the Dream would have said all those years ago. So stand by. Oh, yeah, that was harder to make it or harder to watch it. Holy crap. Um, all right. So that's where, yeah, it took forever to find everybody in that video. But yeah, 4 minutes for Memoriam. There's no way around that. D-Ross says Bailey had to turn with social distancing. Uh, Maybe, but she turned before we went on lockdown. D-Ross, let's not forget that she turned, last year before any of this shit was going on. So yeah, um, looking back, not a bad idea, right? But in the moment, it was like, oh wow, she turned heel about time. Now we're like, okay, well that makes more sense that way. And DJ, we lost far too many people this year. Um, I am hoping that is a huge difference in 2021 that we don't have to have one of those at least that long at the end of next year. Goodness. My favorite match of 2020, Tripton, I had quite a few. There were actually some really good, solid matches this year. But my favorite, my own personal favorite, because of uh, how much it means looking back now, was Undertaker versus AJ Styles. Um, and you know what else is really great? Also, when Jericho and MJF was fun too for me as a fan because I love both those guys so much. But yeah, my favorite this year was definitely Undertaker and AJ Styles. I know that's cliche, and of course you're going to say that, right? But I loved that match. I really did. I also thoroughly enjoyed, as I mentioned earlier, Bailey versus Sasha at Hell in a Cell because those two just had a tremendous contest, and I feel they really stepped their game up exponentially in that encounter. So very happy for both of them. Proud as a fan, proud to be a fan of women's wrestling when things like that happen. So hopefully they both can continue on as we move along. Yeah, December was pretty shitty because we lost Tiny, we lost Pat, Kevin, and of course recently Danny Hodge and John Huber. So it was really tough month was January. I noticed as well, Cool Brothers. A lot of those names you saw were at the very beginning. So the very beginning, the very end of the year were rough, just rough, no question. Uh, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you agreeing with me, Elijah. Thank you. Um, yeah, just it does suck, and this is going to be a personal. I should have a little. This is my view only. Dawn Wells, if you're familiar with Gilligan's Island, and if you're a fan of Gilligan's Island, I love you for that, by the way. She passed away yesterday. She was Mary Ann on Gilligan's Island. The last surviving cast member of Gilligan's Island is Tina Louise, who originally played Ginger. And I think that's cruddy that the last surviving member of the Gilligan's Island cast is the one that hates that show the most. It's such a 2020 thing, right? The one remaining cast member out of that entire seven seven people is the one that hates the show more than anybody. It's just a very 2020 thing, like I said. So, Roman Reigns come back as a face, but at first we didn't know it. He became that Roman's back also should not be understated by any means. Great job by Roman. Great job by Paul Heyman this year as his special counsel. Great stuff from the Blue Brand, from the head of the table. I look forward to more in 2021. Trip, I don't. I guess you're a recent fan, which is fine. I have no problem with that. My favorite wrestler of all time, Hulk Hogan, hence the textilization of my shirts. RVD is one of my favorites. He's also a good friend. You may see him tomorrow. We're working on it. He said, "Go ahead and call him when I'm ready." So we'll see how things play out tomorrow. Um, uh, Favorite wrestler I haven't become friends with full time is Ric Flair. He's the greatest of all time. D. Ross says thoughts on Dynamite last night. So hard, great. I still have not watched it. I couldn't sit through it last night. I didn't want to have to be in the moment of trying to deal with it. I had a lot going on yesterday here personally. I didn't want to have to try to deal with that as well. So I'm probably going to watch it after I'm done with SmackDown on Friday. So that's when I'll probably watch it. Brian Robinson says, "Who's my favorite wrestler currently under 6 feet tall?" Dana Bryan, Brian Danielson. You'll always be my favorite technical wrestler by far. AJ's up there too. AJ may be 6 foot, I'm not sure, but he's on the list of favorites right now. But my current favorite under 6 feet is Brian Danielson. And Jey Uso became a star too. Great job for him. I didn't even think of that to have. Yeah, exactly. He just says he missed the first 15 minutes. Dynamite enjoyed thoroughly. Yeah, remember, JJ isn't a watcher of the shows. He doesn't watch the stuff regularly. So if he watched, it's a big deal. I did. Big E winning the Intercontinental title was awesome. I'm so happy for E. I hope that we see big things from Big E in 2021. Sami Zayn beat Jeff and AJ. Yeah, that ladder match with the handcuff the earlobe to the ladder, that was barbaric, but it was a damn good, entertaining match. It was a hell of a sight. I enjoyed it very much, and I've enjoyed this entire year with everybody here and everybody watching everywhere across YouTube and my Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in as they have all year long. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up now because I do want to get a little bit of cleaning done before Aaron goes on the air. So let me just say this. Let me go ahead and get rid of that so I have a full screen to work with. There we go. Again, tomorrow at 6 o'clock, 3 Pacific for you West Coast kids, we'll be celebrating a year of the Jeff Meacham Network. There it is. Boom, right there. It'll be on this channel. It'll be on all the channels you're watching right now. Every channel you're watching right now, we'll be carrying the Jeff Meacham anniversary special, as well as maybe my Facebook and Twitter, and I may have Instagram feed right here. We'll see. I haven't decided yet on that. We'll see how it goes, but definitely the 5 Facebooks you see here. My channel, Aaron's channel, the NoDQ channel, I should say, Greg Cherry Brand, the Cleveland Rangers channel, and Noah's channel will be going across all 5 of those. So that'll be coming up tomorrow at 6 o'clock, 5 Pacific. And I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait because we've got a lot of people lined up. Now I'm gonna totally throw JJ under the bus right now. He's got clips for me from people that I apparently know that have sent me well wishes. He has not shown me those. He has not let me have any hint whatsoever at who we're going to see tomorrow. I'm a little scared. I'm not going to lie, because every time I get surprised, it ends up being one of those things where I almost pee my pants because I'm so giddy about it. So, in any event, whoever he's got, I'm sure you'll enjoy it because JJ only has my best intentions at heart, I think. We'll see what happens. So I appreciate everybody coming in. Like I said, I've talked to RVD. He said he's going to try to be here. Same with Mark Bagwell. It will not be a 4-hour thing with Buff. I promise you that. We're going to go 2 hours max for the whole everybody. I'm not going to deal with, because I want Aaron to watch SmackDown, and I want Aaron to be able to cover SmackDown without having to worry about being on the air with me. So Aaron will be here. People I mentioned, a couple other people I haven't mentioned who you guys haven't seen in a while. So stay tuned for that, and that'll do it. Cool Brothers, with all these wrestlers dying, have you thought of doing a fantasy draft? No, I don't do fantasy stuff. I don't dabble in that end of the pool. Just not my bag. Not my thing. Mark says, do you think Karrion Kross will be called up? He's got to have NXT shower time first. Let's be real. He's had a few matches because he got hurt. So let's have him win the title back. Let's have him have a good run, and we'll see about calling him up. Baby steps. Baby steps. That's not fair, because that leads to a song that breaks my heart, JJ. So do I trust you from a lead? Maybe. We'll see. See how it goes. All right. I'll do it. I appreciate again everybody being here and everybody watching. Let me throw out the plugs I want to throw out real quick before I forget. My buddy Bailey, of course, on Instagram at Miss_Vixen420. Chat her up on DMs. I promise you'll thank me for that. My buddy Laura, who actually is almost ready for midnight over in the UK. She'll be celebrating her begin 2021 in just a few minutes here at onlyfans.com/LauraSensFan. My dear friend Lisa up in Toronto. You check her out at Angel Lisa Marie 2. Don't forget about her. The Cleavers channel, which you're watching on right now, so God bless you for that, over at nodq.com/Colin and youtube.com/Colin Andrew. No DQ _ Big Baller G for our buddy who also has a show coming up on Tuesday. And the dads, we're having huge shows coming up here on Friday, January 8th. We'll be doing our top 10 Tom Hanks movies. That'll be on the 8th. On the 14th, which is not a dad's day, but it's a special day, our anniversary show. Again, God, 10 years. Holy shit. And, of course, the 22nd will be our Rumble show, so stay tuned for that. And Renegade reviews coming up on this channel on replay status on the Fridays. We're not doing dads. The trivia starting Friday, January 15th, will be the very first match between myself, David Diaz, and Chris Cass for the first spot in the second round. Triple threat style. Ugh, hate it. Can't stand triple threats. We'll see how it plays out. And our buddy Alexander the Red, let's not forget her. She got a brand new setup for New Year's over at patreon.com/Alexander the Red. And yes, she is having her feet in the champagne bath. If you like that, she done did it for you. So very good. All right, guys. Just about 23 hours and 40 minutes to go until the anniversary show, and a little less than that, well, a lot less than that, before the end of this stupid year. Don't forget, coming up in about 40 minutes on the No DQ side of things, you have Aaron Riff's live stream. He'll be talking about whatever Aaron was talking about. It's his show. I don't produce it. I don't know. Check him out there. We will see you tomorrow as we begin 2021 and year 2 and celebrate year 1 of the Jeff Meacham Network. See you tomorrow.